morning, I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Right now on Morning News Now, moving the mob, a high-stakes hearing on Capitol Hill this morning. The January 6th committee set to focus in on the alleged connections between Donald Trump, his allies, and the far-right militia groups that stormed the Capitol.
The mobilization of an armed, violent mob cannot really be compared to anything else a president has done. It makes the Watergate break-in look like the work of Cub Scouts.
We have team coverage with the key witnesses set to testify and the new evidence that could be revealed at today's hearing. Heading east, President Biden preparing for his first trip to the Middle East since taking office, as high gas prices hit Americans' wallets and the president's approval rating. We'll walk you through where Biden is headed on the historic visit, the criticism he's facing over one of his stops, and what's at stake for this trip. Climbing cases this morning, new concerns over the rise of 2 Omicron subvariants. The strains are fueling a surge of new infections at home and across the world as more areas consider new restrictions to stop the spread. And all about the deals. Amazon's annual Prime Day is here, but with inflation at 40-year highs, are you still getting the biggest bang for your buck this year? We'll give you a sneak peek at some of the hottest deals out there, and we'll tell you what items to leave off your list this time around. We are just going to keep talking about those sales.
Is the point that you're supposed to do your holiday shopping now or just buy stuff for yourself?
Yeah, is this the whole Christmas in July like concept, I guess? I don't know.
What you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Especially the Nordstrom one is going to get me. I know. I haven't checked it out yet, though. All right, we'll begin, though, with the January 6th committee investigation and what we can expect from today's public hearing.
The panel is set to put far-right groups under the microscope as it looks at possible ties between former President Trump's inner circle and extremist groups planning the attack. Committee members say words played a key role in driving the mob to storm the U.S. Capitol.
The president's tweet on the wee hours of December 19th of "Be There, Be Wild" was a siren call to these folks. And we'll talk in detail about what that caused them to do, how that caused them to organize.
We have team coverage of today's hearing with NBC News reporter Julie Sirkin and former federal prosecutor Carol Lamb, who is an NBC News legal analyst. Julie, we're going to start with you. We hear there will be testimony from a rioter and from a one-time spokesman for the Oath Keepers. What else do we know about these witnesses, and how is the committee trying to connect the dots with this hearing?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Well, this hearing, number 7 today, will focus on the mobilization of these rioters to the Capitol on January 6th. You'll remember in Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony at the end of June, she laid out moments in which former President Trump seemed to instruct his supporters, some of those rioters, to go to the Capitol on that day. The committee here looking to link whether former President Trump's words were really the directive here for some of these rioters. You mentioned we'll hear from the Oath Keepers spokesperson. He was the spokesperson at one time, hired in 2014 by Stewart Rhodes, the leader of the Oath Keepers. Though he hasn't been with the group since 2017, he was close to Rhodes, living with him at one point, and the committee says he could potentially detail the group's thinking and directive as far as these conspiracy theories go. They'll also hear from a rioter who pled guilty last month, Stephen Ayers. He has direct insight because he circulated that Trump tweet that you heard from committee member Stephanie Murphy. He circulated that tweet on social media. So the committee here looking to link those two things.
So, Carol, if the right-wing extremist groups are tied to Trump associates, but not Trump himself, how does that impact the investigation?
Something that is good for the January 6th committee in terms of showing President Trump's proximity to those who decided to come in and invade the Capitol. And this is why. Intent is always the issue here. What did the president intend? And if the president did not intend for armed invaders to breach the Capitol walls, then he might say, well, these were the unintended consequences of my tweets and my rallies and the things I said that are just protected speech. But when his own allies are actually talking to and in cahoots with those who invaded the Capitol, that is one more brick in the wall that the January 6th committee is building to show the president's actual knowledge of what was going to happen, and it explains his inaction after the Capitol was breached. It explains his inaction about, not trying to calm things down and not trying to make the invaders go home. So it is putting the picture together much more. There's a much stronger tie now.
Looking at today's hearing, Julie, the committee is expected to zero in on a mid-December meeting, mid-December 2020 in the White House, when Trump and his allies pushed ideas like seizing voting machines. So what more do we know about that and the infamous tweet that followed that meeting?
Yeah, that meeting happening just hours before that infamous tweet in which former President Trump told his supporters to come to the Capitol and that the day was going to be wild, not to miss it. They're going to zero in on this meeting because it was looked at by some, including members on the committee, as a pivotal moment, really, into the behind-the-scenes work of former President Trump and his allies, pushing these conspiracy theories. That meeting included Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Michael Flynn. Some folks of the committee already spoke to behind closed doors, but it also will be big today because the committee plans to play some portions of their taped testimony from Pat Cipollone, the White House lawyer who Cassidy Hutchinson laid out last month. He tried to tell Donald Trump, tell his allies to call off the rioters. I want you to take a listen to what Jamie Raskin, the committee member who will be leading today's hearing, told my colleague Ali Vitale.
White House counsel Pat Cipollone has corroborated almost everything that we had learned from the prior hearings. I was there for most of it, and I didn't hear him contradict any other witness. Well, I certainly didn't hear him contradict Cassidy Hutchinson, and I think he had the opportunity to say whatever he wanted to say. So I didn't see any contradiction there.
Now, this is important because not only was Cipollone privy to that December 18th meeting and what happened in it, but also he will corroborate, potentially, according to Jamie Raskin, Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, which we know some key allies of former President Trump have already tried to discredit.
And Carol, very quickly, as a former federal prosecutor, what are you going to be watching for today?
Well, I'm going to be watching for what the committee decides to focus on. If they focus on Pat Cipollone's testimony, that means that they found it very persuasive and even more important to show the American people today than some of the live witnesses that they might have. Pat Cipollone is not going to testify live. You'll be seeing portions of his videotaped deposition from Friday. But I think that what they're going to try to show, what the committee is going to try to show, is that there's only one story here. There's only one storyline, because remember, this is a nightmare for Donald Trump. There's nobody on his side pushing his agenda with this committee. So this is like a long opening statement for the committee with only their side. And so what they're going to be doing is building this storyline and making it one that really can't be refuted because of the weight of the evidence that they're building.
All right, Julie Sirkin and Carol Lamb, thank you both so much for kicking us off this hour. And you can watch today's hearing right here on NBC News Now. Our live coverage begins at 12:30 p.m. Eastern.
Now, President Biden is set to host his Mexican counterpart at the White House later this morning before leaving on a trip to the Middle East. The 4-day trip will see the president visit Israel and the occupied West Bank and then on to Saudi Arabia for a meeting with their king. Speaking yesterday, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan explained the importance of Biden's visit to the region.
The Middle East is deeply interwoven with the rest of the world. And if we act now to create a more peaceful and stable region, it will pay dividends for the American national interest and for the American people for years to come.
NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli joins us now, along with Hagar Shamali. She's the host of Oh My World on YouTube and also a former spokesperson for the U.S. mission to the UN and a former NSC director for Syria and Lebanon. Good morning to both of you. Mike, I'll start with you first. Let's talk about this morning's meeting with the Mexican president before we get to that Middle East trip. What's on the agenda there? What are they expected to discuss?
Well, Savannah, White House officials say that these two presidents are going to discuss the major global challenges of the moment, like the economy, including the war in Ukraine. They're very reluctant to reduce the U.S.-Mexico issue relationship to one issue, but we all know what that issue is. It's migration, both from Central and South America more broadly, but also the migration challenges at the U.S.-Mexico border specifically. And of course, administration officials acknowledge this will be a tough conversation. You'll remember it was just a month ago. I was in Los Angeles when President Biden was hosting the Summit of the Americas. AMLO, as the Mexican president is called, snubbed that summit because of the invitation list that he wanted the participation of Cuba, Venezuela, other countries in Latin America that the U.S. did not invite. But this one-on-one meeting today, just their second face-to-face meeting since Biden took office, will be an opportunity to revisit some of these issues, especially the fact that Mexico made a number of significant commitments on migration at the Summit of the Americas, even if President Obrador was not there. They're going to be talking about a continued effort to modernize the infrastructure at the U.S.-Mexico border. You'll remember there was a Supreme Court ruling. The Biden administration won the right to continue to implement and the Trump administration's Remain in Mexico policies. There are some follow-up requirements from that decision that the two leaders will be discussing today.
Mike, now let's talk about the Middle East tour, the president's first visit to the region. What's the goal of this trip?
Well, of course, anytime a president travels to the Middle East, it's walking a diplomatic tightrope, especially so for President Biden as he makes his first trip to the Middle East as president. You'll start with the fact that he's going to be in Israel, where the government led by Naftali Bennett just had to disband that very fragile coalition. So one of the first orders of business for President Biden is to be meeting with all various leaders within the Israeli government, not just the acting prime minister, but of course the opposition leader, Bibi Netanyahu. President Biden has known former Prime Minister Netanyahu for decades. This is a relationship that's had its ups and more recently its downs. So that's going to be an interesting conversation to watch. He'll also be visiting Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial, also reiterating and speaking to the Israelis about furthering their defense capabilities, including Iron Dome, a new technology called Iron Beam, a laser-enabled defense system. And then, of course, from there, it's on to the West Bank and then to Saudi Arabia.
Hagar, let's bring you in here and talk more about this first part of the Middle East tour to Israel. It comes at a time when diplomatic relations with the Palestinians are at rock bottom. So over the past year, major organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch have accused Israel of committing apartheid against the Palestinians. Is the U.S. putting enough pressure on Israel to advance Palestinian rights and end illegal settlement building? What do you make of these relationships right now?
Well, there are a lot of weird aspects of this trip in general. First, usually Israel is a trip that U.S. presidents try to do the first year in office. Now, you had the pandemic, of course, there were a lot of complications. But that being said, it's a bit late, usually, for the U.S. president to make his first official visit to Israel in the second year, 18 months later. So that's a big deal. But at the same time, Israeli domestic politics, as Mike just mentioned, are at their own weird phase. So President Biden had been trying to flourish this relationship with the former Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, and now you have an interim Prime Minister, Yair Lapid, who is in favor of a two-state solution, but he is just an interim Prime Minister. So things with Israel at the moment are, in that regard, they have their own volatile domestic politics. So it's a bit difficult to build on that when it comes to pressuring their movement on concessions, but they have not been moving on that front at all. And on the Palestinian side, it's the same. The Palestinian leadership has been the same for way too long. They are corrupt. They haven't done much. And the U.S. government acts a little bit like they've lost hope with changing their behavior as well.
Hagar, now let's talk about the rest of this visit to Saudi Arabia. So some are criticizing this stop, and they've used the president's own words to justify doing so, because when campaigning, he promised to make Saudi Arabia a pariah. First, I want to play some more sound from National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan just yesterday. This was his response when asked whether Biden regrets using those words.
The president has not expressed regret about his statements. What the president has been focused on is his view that the United States has important interests to advance and protect, including in partnership with Saudi Arabia. Human rights is going to remain a feature of his agenda and an important feature of his agenda, and it will be on display while we're on this trip as well.
Now, Hagar, we've only got like 30 seconds for your answer here. I'm sorry, but could this be a potentially awkward meeting for the president?
Yes, is the quick answer. There are two things going on here. Number one, it is normal, even after statements like that, to have trips to continue the relationship with Saudi Arabia. We've got a lot to talk about: counterterrorism, Iran, and so on. Obviously, oil. But the fact is that this trip would not be happening if it weren't for the Ukraine war and the roiling oil markets that you're seeing. And that's the bottom line here. This is not exactly a way to change human rights behavior in Saudi Arabia.
Hagar and Mike, thank you both so much. We appreciate it.
President Biden is also facing major obstacles here at home, including mounting pressure from Democrats to both codify Roe v. Wade and commit to stronger gun reform measures. And now new polling shows more Americans are looking for a different leader in 2024. NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell has more on what exactly voters are saying and how the Biden administration is responding.
Almost 2,000 gathered on the South Lawn to mark the most hard-fought bipartisan achievement of the Biden era, the first new gun safety law in nearly 3 decades.
Lives will be saved today and tomorrow because of this.
One father whose son died at Parkland interrupted, shouting that more must be done.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
The president hailed the new law as progress, as his political standing appears precarious. A new poll from the New York Times finds 64% of Democratic voters say they would prefer a different leader in the 2024 election. Mr. Biden's age cited most. He'd be 82 right after the election.
We need some younger people in the office. Yeah. That's, bottom line.
Should be an concern to everybody. Yeah, it's kind of up there.
However, the vice president said Sunday they expect to be in the race.
He intends to run. And if he does, I intend to run with him.
One clear warning: only 13% of Americans said they think the country is on the right track.
I feel like we're taking so many steps back right now. Am I right?
To counter doubters, the White House touts the strong job market and gas prices down 33 cents in the last month. The president heads to Israel and Saudi Arabia, where he will push to increase oil supply to ease gas prices.
Can we get that price down, and can we keep it down?
That new polling does offer a positive sign for the White House, showing President Biden a few points ahead of Donald Trump when voters are asked about a potential rematch in 2024.
All right, Kelly O'Donnell, thanks so much. Now, this morning in California, firefighters are still racing to save hundreds of the iconic giant sequoia trees in Yosemite National Park as the Washburn fire rages on. It's already destroyed more than 2,000 acres since breaking out on Thursday, forcing the closure of the park's popular southern entrance. The fire is now threatening Yosemite's famous Mariposa Grove, home to some of the oldest and tallest trees on the planet. Firefighters have been clearing away dry brush and installing sprinklers, but say a heat wave and low humidity is making containment difficult. Now, giant sequoias were once considered flame resistant, but a buildup of undergrowth and the West's decades-long mega drought have made the trees increasingly vulnerable. Over the last 2 years alone, wildfires have killed 20% of the world's large sequoias. As of this morning, the Washburn fire is 25% contained, and none of the sequoias there have been damaged.
Well, the West is dealing with that mega drought. The Northeast could see some pretty strong storms later today. From what you can expect as you head out the door. Time for a check on your morning news now weather.
Which means Michelle Grossman's here. Hey, Michelle.
Hey there, guys. Good to see you. And yeah, you need the umbrella at times later on this afternoon. We have daytime heating. It's going to spark some showers and storms. We're starting out with showers and storms in other spots this morning as well. In the Southwest, the Central Plains, pretty heavy rain in the Gulf Coast. We'll talk more about that in just a second, too. But it's the Northeast where we're going to start. We have a slow-moving cold front that's going to move through, and it's going to bring the chance for some strong storms. We could see some damaging winds, some hail, even the isolated chance of a tornado. So here's that setup. That cold front's going to slide through. It's going to bring that risk from New England all the way to parts of the mid-Atlantic. Philadelphia, D.C., one of the bigger cities, we are looking at the risk for severe weather. But where you see this yellow here, that's where we could see these stronger storms. 33 million at risk for those winds gusting to 60 miles per hour. Also the chance of hail, and again, an isolated chance of a tornado or two. Now we're looking at rainfall, too. Not all that much. We have pockets of heavier rain, but it's really the Gulf Coast where we're looking at that heavy rain falling. So as we zoom in a little closer here, notice all these reds. We could see up to 5 inches of rain in some spots. We've seen rain for weeks and weeks, and we're going to add to that. We have an area of low pressure. It's kind of pulling in that Gulf moisture, so that's why we're seeing so much rain. Could pick up some tropical characteristics over the next couple of days. We're going to watch that. Either way, whether it picks up those characteristics, we're still going to see that heavy rain. So anywhere from 3 to 5 inches from Louisiana through the Panhandle of Florida, even up to parts of South Carolina. Dangerous heat continues once again today. 30 million impacted from the Northwest into the Rockies, the Intermountain West, the South Central states. Where you see that pink, that is a heat warning. And we are looking at temperatures into the triple digits in some spots once again. It's been like this for so long. I feel like these people must just be like, we need a little relief here. We're looking at 104 in Dallas today. It's going to feel like 105. It'll feel like 108 in Memphis and 102 in Baton Rouge. And the Southwest, we're looking really warm too. Las Vegas tomorrow, 110 degrees.
Ooh, 104 in Salt Lake City, too.
I know.
Goodness.
Yeah, right?
Gosh,
Thanks, Michelle.
All right, thank you. See you soon. We're back now with turmoil in Sri Lanka. Protesters there had stormed the presidential palace and the prime minister's home, and they say they won't leave the buildings until both leaders are officially out of office. They're expected to resign tomorrow, but many say they've lost all trust in the two leaders. NBC News correspondent Megan Fitzgerald takes a closer look at what led to the protests and what could happen next.
In Sri Lanka, the country's most chaotic day in months of political turmoil. Tens of thousands of people storming the presidential palace and prime minister's home, setting fire to one of the buildings on Saturday in a rage over the nation's severe economic crisis. Soldiers were unable to hold back protesters from entering the homes, firing shots and tear gas. More than 30 people reported hurt in the chaos. Protesters holding President Gotabaya Rajapaksa responsible for the nation's economic meltdown, setting off acute shortages of essential items like food, fuel, medicine, and other necessities. Reuters reporting the president evacuated Friday as a safety precaution ahead of the planned protest, according to 2 defense ministry sources. Footage from the presidential palace also showed people taking a swim in the pool, working out and relaxing on beds, some making statements from the conference room that the president and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe must immediately quit.
To get rid of the president and the prime minister and to have a new era for Sri Lanka. Also, I feel very, very sad that they didn't go earlier, because had they gone earlier, there wouldn't have been any destruction. And it's time that we got all our stolen money back to this country.
The president and prime minister agreed to resign this upcoming Wednesday, but it's been months of unrest. Protests erupted in May, mainly blaming the president and his family for mismanaging the nation's finances.
They took decisions that set the Sri Lankan economy on a downward spiral.
The Rajapaksas have dominated Sri Lankan politics for years. After his brother resigned as prime minister under pressure, President Rajapaksa appointed the current prime minister, hoping the politician would use his diplomacy and contacts to rescue a collapsed economy.
Ranil Wickremesinghe has the experience and has the international contacts that in theory, he could have been the right prime minister to deal with some of these issues. He essentially postponed the inevitable, which was the fall of the Rajapaksa dynasty.
Today, the protesters vowing to occupy residences until the president and prime minister officially quit.
We don't trust him anymore.
According to Sri Lankan's constitution, parliament must elect a new president within 30 days when the position is vacated.
That was Megan Fitzgerald reporting. Now, experts say the damage caused by the outgoing administration is significant. It could take years for Sri Lanka's economy to recover, even if action is taken immediately.
In Japan, a funeral was held today for slain former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Mourners lined the streets to pay their respects as Abe's body was driven by hearse through Tokyo. All as police continue to investigate Friday's shocking killing. NBC News foreign correspondent Janice Mackey-Frayer has more, and a warning: some viewers may find the images in this report disturbing.
Mounting questions around the shocking assassination of Shinzo Abe, the former prime minister's body arriving at a Tokyo temple for a private wake. Outside, hundreds of mourners paying respect to Japan's longest-serving leader. I think he gave the Japanese something to be proud about, this woman said. I hope he'll rest in peace. Secretary of State Antony Blinken making his way to Japan, sharing condolences from President Biden.
We're friends, and when a friend is hurting, other friends show up.
Police are investigating their own security failures. There were 2 shots fired. You can see Abe turn around after the first, but security doesn't subdue the gunman, who's able to fire a second time before he's tackled. Police say the suspected gunman confessed to killing Abe and that he believed the former prime minister was tied to a religious group widely known as the Unification Church, which he says his mother was obsessed over and eventually caused her financial stress. Investigators seized multiple weapons in a raid on his home. Several Japanese media outlets reporting he said he planned to make explosives for the attack, but switched to a homemade gun instead. Still, in the wake of tragedy, Japanese voters heading to the polls, an election Abe was campaigning for when he was shot. Leaders holding a moment of silence before announcing results. A landslide victory for Abe's party, and now a huge majority in Parliament.
Our thanks to Janice for that report. And officials say a public memorial service for Shinzo Abe will be announced at a later date.
Let's stay on some international news now. And in the UK, nearly a dozen candidates are in the running to replace Prime Minister Boris Johnson.
NBC's Claudio Lubanga joins us from Rome with that and other world headlines. Hey, Claudio.
Good morning, guys. Yes, the Conservative Party say they will announce Boris Johnson's replacement on September the 5th. The now former UK Prime Minister was forced to resign last week after several of his high-profile members of his cabinet stepped down after months of controversies and ethics concern. Now the contest to replace him will carry out throughout the summer. It will be in 2 stages. First of all, the party's lawmakers will narrow down the candidates to 2, and then the rest of the party will vote for the winner. And now to China, where the government will start repaying victims of a nationwide bank scam. The decision came after hundreds of angry bank clients who were scammed took to the streets over the weekend again to demand their money back. Even if the investigation over the scam is still ongoing, 4 major Chinese banks promised they will start refunding individuals with deposits of up to $7,400 first and the rest later. And let's end this short tour of the world in Brazil, where if you look up, you may catch a glimpse of the Spix macaw, a parrot species that disappeared from the wild 20 years ago. Well, now, thanks to a rescue project, the parrot with gray heads and vivid blue plumage has made a remarkable comeback. Well, perhaps some holiday advice or suggestion for bird watchers all around, guys.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah, pretty bird.
Oh my gosh, cool to see. Claudio, thank you. Let's get to the latest on COVID. There's growing concern that the Omicron subvariants called BA4 and BA5 are more dangerous than some previous strains of the virus.
Now, as you can see here, those subvariants have quickly become the dominant strains in the U.S. Cases and hospitalizations are up, or even seeing a rise in reinfection rates. Health officials are now racing to learn more about the subvariants and the best ways to boost your immunity. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Uche Blackstock joins us now with more. Dr. Blackstock, good morning. Good to see you. So walk us through what makes these strains so much more dangerous. How are the strains and the symptoms different from what we've already seen? And do we know why we are seeing so much reinfection?
Right. So thank you so much for having me on today, Joe. So what we're seeing with BA4 and BA5 is that they are genetically distinct from the earlier Omicron subvariants. They are more contagious, but more importantly, they are able to evade the immune system. So for people who have had prior infection or are vaccinated and boosted, they still could potentially be infected. So that's the difference that we're seeing and why we're seeing more reinfection.
So here in New York City, health officials have actually issued an indoor masking advisory to all residences as cases continue to rise. Talk to us about what precautions we should be thinking about that maybe we haven't had to deal with in a while.
Right, and because this variant is so much more contagious, people are going to have to be very, very careful when they're indoors. So obviously, any indoor crowded area, you're going to want to make sure that you are wearing a high quality mask, so N95 or similar type of mask. The other thing to note is that we're even seeing perhaps even outdoors may be risky. So if you're in an outdoor crowded area, whereas before you may not have masks because you're outdoors and the transmission is lower, because this variant is so contagious, you may actually want to consider masking. The other thing to think about is testing. We're seeing people develop symptoms but are still testing negative. If you are having symptoms, please stay home and isolate. Your test may eventually become positive. that's another thing I need people to really look out for.
That's something I've been hearing a lot of lately, is people testing positive days after they start seeing those symptoms. Let's also talk about vaccines. For those who are vaccinated, there's evidence this virus is able to evade some of the antibodies provided by previous vaccines. We also know it's going to be a couple of months before updated boosters are available to the public. So should we be focusing right now on getting more people a second booster now, or maybe waiting until the updated version is available?
So I would definitely recommend that people get boosted now, get that second booster now. The reason why is because these vaccines are still incredibly effective against the worst outcomes of COVID-19, severe disease, hospitalization, and death. And so, yes, while the Omicron-specific vaccines will prevent infection, we still are very concerned about people doing poorly and having to be hospitalized. So definitely go get that second booster.
All right, good advice. Dr. Uche Blackstock, as always, thank you so much.
Thanks, doctor. Now, the FDA is considering over-the-counter birth control pills for the first time ever. But, of course, this comes at an interesting time for our country following the reversal of Roe versus Wade. NBC News correspondent Stephanie Gosk has more.
When the birth control pill was first approved, it ushered in a sexual revolution.
Birth control, especially the pill, provided women the choice.
More than 60 years later, a French company is asking the FDA to approve an over-the-counter version at a very different time in America's history, just weeks after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. In that decision, the Supreme Court said the right to contraception would not be affected, but in a concurring opinion, Justice Clarence Thomas suggested it should be. HRA Pharma says it started the FDA application process 7 years ago, and the timing is coincidental.
Do you think it's possible that women may go to the doctor less because they no longer need to go to the doctor for the pill?
There is some concern that people only end up going to the doctor because they need birth control. It's not right to hold birth control hostage by a prescription when it is not scientifically necessary, just so that we can get people in to see us.
It comes as the Biden administration faces increased pressure to take action on reproductive rights issues, including potentially declaring a public health emergency over abortion.
Something I'm asked the folks, the medical people in the administration to look at, whether I have the authority to do that and what impact that would have.
But the administration says it will let the FDA dictate the timeline. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists is hopeful.
Over-the-counter birth control is going to be helpful for everyone, but it certainly is going to be helpful for those who are most marginalized in our country.
A major hurdle to getting birth control pills could soon be a thing of the past. Stephanie Gosk, NBC News.
Now to deep space and a new view of the cosmos unlike anything we have ever seen. NASA is set to release a batch of new images like this one taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. That's the $10 billion observatory launched into space last year. Now, this photo offers a sneak peek of what we can expect later today. The first of its kind infrared image shows stars and galaxies as they appeared 13 billion years ago. In the early days of the universe, it is the farthest that we have ever seen into space and time.
Yeah, Webb's infrared cameras allow it to see beyond the range of human sight and other telescopes like the famous Hubble, which relied mostly on visible sight. Scientists say the Webb could unlock mysteries from as far back as 100 million years after the Big Bang.
We're back with the latest on a reality TV star's real-life courtroom drama. Jen Shah from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has pleaded guilty to wire fraud charges in connection with a nationwide telemarketing scheme.
Now she faces up to 14 years in prison. NBC News correspondent Steve Patterson has the latest.
One of the stars of the hit show Real Housewives of Salt Lake City facing real prison time.
The only thing I'm guilty of is being Shah-mazing.
Reality star Jen Shah pleading guilty to a multi-million-dollar wire fraud. This video of police when they first attempted to arrest her last year caught on camera in an episode of this show.
We're looking for Jen Shah.
The guilty plea in connection to a nationwide telemarketing scheme that targeted hundreds of older and computer illiterate people, selling them non-existent services and fighting consumer efforts to obtain refunds. The scheme lasted for more than 9 years, starting in 2012, according to the indictment. She now faces up to 14 years in prison, must forfeit $6.5 million, and agreed to pay another $9.5 million to her victims. Shah was accused in March 2021 of the scheme. Prosecutors say the victims were sold false promises of financial security, but defrauded out of their savings. SHAH said in court she, quote, knew it was wrong. Many people are harmed, and I'm so sorry. SHAH's attorney Priya Chaudhry telling NBC News her client pleaded guilty, quote, because she wants to pay her debt to society and put this ordeal behind her and her family.
I'm so angry at you.
Jen Shah was one of the stars of the hit reality TV show Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, showing the extravagant lifestyles of some of Utah's richest, from massive closets full of designer clothes and bags.
This is like my happy place in the house. Yeah, this would be my happy place too.
To her team of assistants dubbed the SHAH Squad.
Somebody help him.
Bravo, owned by NBC News' parent company, has declined to comment. But before her arrest, even the producers of the show had questions.
People are wondering, like, how'd you get so rich?
My background is in direct response marketing for about 20 years. So our company does, advertising. We have a platform that helps people acquire customers. So when you're shopping online or on the internet and something pops, we have the algorithm behind why you're getting served that ad.
Police arresting Shah in her rented Salt Lake City mansion. Shah's husband, Sharif Shah, a former coach at the University of Utah, has not been charged or accused in any involvement in the scheme. In a reunion episode after the arrest.
After the arrest, did you consider quitting the show?
We did have a discussion, me and Coach and the boys, and I was like, no, I'm innocent, and I felt like I need to tell my story.
At first, Shah fought the charges, even going so far as selling not guilty T-shirts and other merchandise in the lead up to her trial. But after her new plea, Shah is set to be sentenced in November. With a camera following her through the process, the new season of the reality TV show, expected later this year, will be sure to include a little extra legal drama.
Yeah, it seems that's for sure. Thanks to Steve Patterson for that report. Now, this isn't the first time a Real Housewife has been arrested specifically on fraud charges. Back in 2015, Teresa Giudice from the New Jersey cast was arrested for mail, wire, and bankruptcy fraud.
Today marks the beginning of Amazon Prime Day, the annual summer markdown event available to all Amazon Prime members. Thousands of items are going to be marked down at a deep discount.
But how can you make sure you're getting the best deal? Well, Steve Greenberg is here with us to help sort through all the discounts. Steve's the host of YouTube's Gadget Game Show, What the Heck Is That? And the author of Gadget Nation. Steve, good morning. So let's start with the big question. What are the biggest deals during this Prime Day? What should people be scooping up?
Well, anything and everything is a possibility as far as what could be cut down, but a lot of electronics, a lot of things like countertop appliances, like rice cookers and toasters and those things always get big cuts. And, it could be anything. It could be from makeup to jewelry. There's a little bit of everything on Amazon Prime Day. So you really can't go wrong. So you should really put together your wish list and work off of that.
Now, deals are already there, but is there anything people can then do to get extra savings? Like, are there coupon sites? Are those a helpful way to go?
Absolutely. The coupon sites are all gearing up for this. So whether it's Be Frugal or Groupon or Retail Me Not or whatever coupon site you use, I would definitely go to them. Also, look at competitors, like Target and Walmart. They're all trying to compete with Amazon. So they're doing some deep cuts as well. And of course, Amazon's own products like Kindle and Echo and whatnot, Ring, those are also going to be getting some deep discounts as well.
What about other hacks you can share to make sure people are getting the best deals across all these different places?
Well, I mean, simple things are, one, you have to be a Prime member, so you can actually sign on for 30 days free. So you could probably still do that today, and then you can at least test it out and, of course, enjoy this day. So that's one thing you do without actually signing up for it. Things like using the join waitlist button. By doing that, you can then kind of hold on to something. If you've missed that deal because it's already, the supplies are out, you can still be there. If someone falls out and doesn't buy it, you get notified. There's things like Amazon Prime Money that you can actually use. They have a one-click ordering program so you can move quickly on something. And really, again, a lot of it comes down to using your best knowledge, maybe even yesterday, to have actually put together a list of what you wanted so that you can move quickly today to pick out what you want. A lot of that is part of it. And, you can even ask Amazon's voice assistant, don't worry, I'm not going to say her name, but if you ask her, she can actually give you some of the hot deals as well.
ALEXA. Hopefully she doesn't know how to spell her name.
Don't say it.
All right. Philosophical question for you, Steve. We were discussing earlier this hour. Are you supposed to do your holiday shopping now? Is this just for you, for fun? What is the point of what should we be buying right now?
Well, if you're a super organized person and you know what you want to give relatives and friends and whatnot in December, yeah, this might be the time to do it. I'm not that person. But if you are, yeah, this would be a great time to get some holiday gifts. Absolutely. Of course, you have to store them for 6 months.
Right.
And maybe in 6 months, they're going to seem kind of, yesterday-ish. But you could still do it if you wanted to.
All right, Steve Greenberg, thanks for the tips.
All right, financial headlines now. And Twitter is fighting to keep Elon Musk's deal alive just days after the billionaire announced he won't buy the social media giant.
CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and other news this morning. Hey, Silvana.
Hey, yeah, so just more here with Twitter. Twitter is accusing Elon Musk of knowingly breaching his agreement to buy the company. Musk is seeking to back out of the $44 billion deal. And in a letter, Twitter's lawyers say the company has not violated its terms of the sale, as Musk claimed, and is taking steps to close the deal. Sources say Twitter plans to file a lawsuit this week. Twitter stock is now 40% below Musk's buyout price. Gap is replacing its CEO after little more than 2 years on the job. The shakeup follows years of slumping sales at the flagship Gap brand and more recently problems at Old Navy, which accounts for more than half of revenues. Last summer, Old Navy introduced a range of sizes, this in a bid to make its clothes more inclusive. But that backfired, leaving stores with too many very small and very large sizes and not enough middle sizes, which are the most popular. Amazon is bringing smart grocery carts to some Whole Foods stores. The Dash Cart, launched at Amazon Fresh back in stores in 2020, tracks and tallies items as you put them in the cart, allowing you to skip the checkout line. Amazon will initially roll out the Dash Cart at one Whole Foods near Boston before expanding to additional stores. It's also launching a bigger version of the cart that can fit up to 4 grocery bags and has a lower shelf for oversized products, guys. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about this cart.
Wow. I don't know. Cool, though. I guess.
If I can skip the checkout line, I like it.
Yeah.
I know. For those who like the thrill of shoplifting without shoplifting. All right. Welcome back. We've got quite the update on a story we brought you yesterday, the big casting shakeup for Broadway's Funny Girl. Actress Lea Michele will now replace Beanie Feldstein as the revival's leading lady. Of course, it comes after Feldstein's surprise announcement this past weekend that she would be leaving the role sooner than expected. Best known for her role in Glee, Lea Michele is no stranger to the Broadway scene. She starred in the original production of Spring Awakening back in 2006. Michele took to Instagram yesterday writing, quote, "A dream come true is an understatement. She will debut in the role of Fanny Bryce on September 6th and will not share the stage with her Glee co-star Jane Lynch, who's leaving the show before Michele takes over." Savannah, yesterday I said I had a theory. I told you off camera what that theory would be. What was my theory, Savannah?
This was that right, Savannah?
It's pretty well done. It was kind of a poorly kept secret, honestly. But yeah.
Yes, well, see, this was your theory. You're in the know on all things Broadway, but interesting stuff. All right, thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Now, extreme weather and supply chain issues have made it hard for farmers to turn a profit. It's leading some businesses to grow crops indoors with no sunlight. It's called vertical farming, and it could save huge amounts of water while bringing fresh food to places you don't usually find farms, like cities. But as NBC News Now correspondent Isa Gutierrez shows, it's not a perfect solution. These vertical farms use a lot of energy.
Can I get more of this one? It tastes very fresh. It's just crazy to think that these have never seen sunlight.
According to Guinness World Records, this is the largest indoor vertical farm in the world.
These leafy greens, some of over 40 million plants being grown right now inside this Aero Farms facility in Newark, New Jersey.
Vertical farms are spaces where plants are stacked in warehouse-like shelves, and farmers can control the lighting, temperature, and water. And for some crops, vertical farms can yield 10 to 20 times more food per acre compared to traditional outdoor farming.
So tell me what you're growing in here right now.
This has been optimized to grow baby leafy greens, microgreens. We grow, dozens of different varieties.
Mark Oshima is the co-founder of Aero Farms, a company that says its indoor vertical farms are growing some of your favorite types of veggies while using 95% less water than a traditional outdoor farm.
This is reimagining on how do we address those key, fundamentals and think differently about the farm work that we're doing.
In an era of extreme weather, supply chain issues, and an economy grappling with inflation, growing food outdoors is difficult. In recent years, indoor farms have been trying to mitigate the risks of farming while easing the strain traditional farming has on the planet, all while still turning a profit. But as the industry grows, so does criticism that some of these indoor vertical farms might be overstating their sustainability promises.
Turns out of all the ways we grow food in the world, indoor vertical farms is the most energy intensive and right now emits the most greenhouse gases because it depends on heat, usually natural gas, and on electricity, which is powered mostly by coal or natural gas.
According to the 2021 Global CEA Census Report, indoor vertical farms use more than 7 times more energy than greenhouses. And according to another study, vertical farms can use about 3,000% more energy than traditional farms to produce the same amount of food, due in large part to LED lights that can stay on anywhere from 12 to 18 hours a day.
Until the entire electrical grid of the country or the planet is 100% carbon free, anything that adds the more electricity demands to the system is not helping.
One of the census report's co-authors says despite this, he remains excited about the technology.
We're seeing more vertical farms that are buying renewable energy, which is a good starting point. But it's hard for me to see how the energy demand is going to really drop dramatically simply because you're replacing the sun with a lot of light.
Many people say our power grid is already so strained. What do you say to that?
When we think about our business, yes, there can be a spotlight on the lighting, but it's how do we optimize plant production, getting greater yield, shorter period of time, more biomass with fewer inputs. Absolutely critical when we think about this. This is not sustainable, what we're doing in the field. How do we think about this and make it apples to apples comparison?
The indoor vertical farming industry is expected to grow to $5 billion this year and more than double that by 2026.
I don't think that control of agriculture is the best mitigation strategy to mitigate climate change. I think it's mostly about adaptation to the reality of climate change.
That was Isa Gutierrez reporting. Now, the new farming technology is already changing agricultural policy. The 2018 Farm Bill created an office within the USDA dedicated to urban agriculture and earmarked $25 million for research into new methods like vertical farming. Experts expect even more funds in the next Farm Bill that's due in 2023.
We end this hour with a look at one woman's fight to help her community, one pool at a time.
NBC News correspondent Ron Allen spoke to the Philadelphia lifeguard who swam out of retirement to make sure the kids in her neighborhood had a safe place to spend their summer days.
At age 70, Robin Burlando came out of retirement this summer, hoping to save some young lives.
Don't play on the ropes, baby.
A mother of 3, grandmother of 6, answering Philadelphia's plea for lifeguards to open public swimming pools and help keep kids off the streets.
I was a lifeguard when I was 16 and loved it. I decided to finally do something for our kids, our community. They're killing our kids. They have no place to go. The pools are closed all around.
Here in Philadelphia, at least 100 children, 17 and younger, have been shot so far this year.
I'm in the house with my family, and we hear about 14 shots.
Including just steps from Burlando's front door.
And it was 3 young boys that were shot, killed. When you see it, it's scary and it's very sad.
This is part of your motivation for becoming a lifeguard?
Yes, that was it. Just to do something, no matter how small, to help out.
Getting the job took determination. She failed to qualify the first time, so she took the test again and passed.
She's amazing. I mean, what 70-year-old do you know is a lifeguard giving back to community like that?
I'm very much committed to this. This is my reputation. This is my community.
Hey! Philly has opened 50 of its 65 pools, with the help of some grandmothers like Burlando, trying to save her city's children. Ron Allen, NBC News, Philadelphia.
Good for her.
Yeah, absolutely. How sweet what she's doing for her community. And good for her really getting back in.
No kidding. No kidding.
I mean, wow, that's pretty impressive.
All right, that does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.